Welcome to Icke Land, the podcast where I, Thomas Robertson, he, him, take you on a journey through the world of British conspiracy theorist David Icke, a self-confessed, tireless campaigner for truth. Tread carefully and follow me. In Icke Land, they lurk in every shadow and behind every corner. The lizard men who rule the world need human blood to maintain their human disguises, so, for your own safety, keep your hands and feet inside the podcast.
But just let me say this.
They're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you.
Fine.
I didn't mean that to be hurtful.
Terry.
I don't want you to misinterpret it. They're not laughing in sympathy with you.
No.
I've been interested in David Icke for a long time. I was first exposed to the ideas of David Icke through the internet as a teenager, and I was fascinated by the parallel world he lived in. Icke first achieved fame as a football player, before moving into sports broadcasting and politics as a spokesman for the Green Party. These days he's best known as the guy who thinks the world is ruled by lizards. In the 1990s, Icke fell down a New Age rabbit hole from which he's never escaped. He came to believe that he possessed esoteric knowledge and psychic abilities. He believed he was chosen to teach the world about looming environmental disasters, the secrets of reincarnation, the power of energy healing and psychic abilities. Initially, Icke was regarded as eccentric or as someone with a sudden onset of a mental illness. He was widely ridiculed, famously on Wogan, a TV show he appeared on to promote his first book to cover New Age topics. In the first half of the 1990s, Icke's message soured, becoming conspiratorial and even further from reality. His writing and lectures shifted from topics which were odd and New Age to harmful. In a well-known instance, he spoke of the secret rulers of the world, invoking anti-Semitic canards and forgeries as evidence. In the intervening decades, David Icke has done exactly what he set out to do, publishing books, giving hundreds of hours of lectures, and countless interviews. Icke's extreme and polarizing beliefs, and his refusal to kowtow to ridicule or authority, have won him a dedicated and loyal following. They've also resulted in his refusal of entry to several countries and his deplatforming from mainstream social media. A prohibition which he wears as a badge of honour, and a sign that those dark forces at work in the world fear his work and his message. Alarmingly, his following and reach have grown throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, and the ensuing lockdowns and restrictions to protect the public from the pandemic. Icke was a vocal opponent of not only the lockdowns, but also vaccination against COVID-19, and found an audience in people who saw the introduction of both as an infringement of their rights. With his foot in the door, Icke was suddenly a figure of interest to people who, without the pandemic, may never have heard of him. Icke's ideas spread like the pandemic. No longer restricted to New Age bookshops or conspiracy and UFO forums, social media, despite the man himself being banned, has given Icke a whole new, and unfortunately receptive, audience. I believe Icke to be a complicated man. Icke is a villain and a victim. He's made a career spreading misinformation, but from all appearances he is sincere and believes what he's saying. It's apt that the pandemic should boost Icke's career. Like someone who catches a virus like COVID-19, he both suffers the symptoms of what he carries and is at risk of spreading it to others. Icke is a cautionary tale of what becomes of people who believe and uncritically absorb information because it accords with what they feel to be true about the world. I'm hoping this podcast will be an amusing investigation of the work of Icke and his message, and why it's so worrisome. If you're a fan of David Icke, unable to keep an open-minded criticism or jokes about the man, then I'm afraid there won't be much here for you. However, if like me, you're fascinated by the alternative universe Icke lives in and writes about, then listen on and have courage as we journey into Icke Land.